Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Going Rounds podcast. I am out of town. I'm having a horrific week. What else is new? I know. But this week's just been, man, it's one for the books, for real. Like, everything is crazy. Crazy. And I just want to go home. I've wanted to go home for like 2 days now. But it's all good. It's what I do. Uh But like from the get go, so much weird shit has happened. That I think that's what makes it. I think that's what makes it so bad. There's been some weird off stuff happening, and it's been throwing me off. So I guess that's what made the week even more crazy. And just things haven't been working out well. And it's this shitty place I have to be at, shitty hotel room. I'm all out of sorts. I just got to my room like I would say an hour ago. And I had to like eat some food real quick because I really didn't eat all day. I haven't really had a meal. Well, I think I ate kind of this morning at like 6 o'clock, and I hadn't really eaten since then. So yeah, it's been a rough day, weird day, but it's all good. I made it. I didn't think I'd make it here for the podcast because I thought it was gonna be late or not even get to do it at all. I'm happy I'm here and getting to do it. Um, one crazy thing though, I went to get my food, right? And there's very minimal choices here for food when it comes to getting something fast. So like fast food options, and I didn't have time for anything else. I wanted to go to the barbecue place they have here today. Um the barbecue place is good here. So usually at least once a week I'll do the barbecue when I'm here. Didn't get to this week because every day has been crazy and I've gotten in late and I just haven't wanted to go and wait for the food, right? So I go to McDonald's. Unfortunately, I fucking hate McDonald's for anything other than breakfast, and even that's getting old to me now. But so I go to McDonald's, right? And I order my food. And listen, we all know, if you know me, I'm a little bit picky and I there's certain things I don't like. So I just keep it basic, right? I mean, I asked for no. I don't have cheese. I don't like cheese. I don't eat cheese on anything but pizza, and it has to be very little. I know I'm weird, but I I order my burger right with no cheese, and I tell him. I start to tell him like I don't want any cheese, but I also just want only this and this or something like that. I was about to get into it, and the guy cuts me right off, talks right over me. I'm talking, he's talking over me, doesn't give a shit, and then acts like it's on me for continuing to talk. And I was just like, I was in zone mode, like I need to get back. So I'm just trying to throw it out there. He talks over me and then chuckles at me like if I'm the rude one, right? And I'm like, I stop talking, he stops talking, nobody talks. So and I'm in the drive through, so I'm like, all right, I'm gonna wait and see what he says because obviously he doesn't want to hear what I have to say, and I'm the one ordering. So then he goes, size and drink, like real fast. I barely understood him. I was like, what was that? And he's all size and drink. I'm like, oh, well, I'll take large and a Coke. And then I go, but can I also? And he goes, all right, well, second window. I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I wasn't done. And and he goes, oh, okay, what else? And I go, I just wanted to tell you, like, no this and that on my burger. And he goes, oh, okay, sounds good. Here's your total at the other window. You should have just said that. And I was like, but I was trying to say that, but you cut me off. I was like, I would have just said that, but you cut me off. And he goes, oh yeah, no, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It's crazy here right now. It's crazy here. I'm sorry. The big boss is around too. I'm so sorry. I was like, okay. I'm like, why would you whisper, like say something under your breath if your boss is around and you're saying it where the customer can hear you? I'm like, all right. So I get up to the window, and I've seen this dude here before because it's a small town. It's only very few places, and he's always there. I get up to the window, and he sees me, and I think he realizes that he's seen me there before. So he's like, and he reads me back my order and tells me it completely wrong. And I'm like, no, 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 no. And he goes, listen, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I've had a horrible day. Today's been just the worst. And I was like, listen, man, I understand. I've had the worst day too. So let's just get this right and I'll get out of your hair. And he goes, no problem. What did you order? How did you want it again? So I tell him and he goes, oh yeah. I put that in. I just read it back wrong. I'm sorry. I was like, okay, can we make sure? He's like, no, I'll make sure. I'll make sure I get it right. I was like, okay, cool. So he gives me everything and he's like super nice every time, and I'm thinking to myself like, I hope this guy doesn't tell the people in the back like, hey, this guy's a fucking asshole, like spitting his burger or something. So I checked all my food, it was all good. And they did it correctly. So and he goes, yeah, hopefully we got it right this time, because last time they got it wrong and I had to talk to him specifically. I had to go inside, I'm tired from work, I just wanted to pick up my food and go to my room, and I had to go back inside and get it all fixed. And I'm just like, man, this sucks. It's like, it's not difficult. I just asked for no cheese and they put cheese on it. Like, come on. So there's no option on the menu that says something without cheese. Everything has cheese. So I have to say no cheese, right? So if I say no cheese, why the fuck would you put cheese on it? I don't know. See, I'm delirious. I'm fucking rambling about this. But it was funny because I caught him saying some shit under his breath. I don't think he thought I heard him. Obviously, when I called him out on it, he found out I heard him. He was cool though. I'm glad he was cool about it. I tried to be cool about it. I didn't continue being rude when I got to the window. We felt the vibe that we both had bad days, so I just let it go. He was nice and friendly like he should have been in the first place. And we were all good. So, yeah, that's how my days have gone. It's crazy. I don't know. But this place feels cursed. Like we've been here in like 3 weeks in the past month, basically. And every week there's something new happening, something bad happening, something stupid happening, some shit that's out of our control, some shit that's in our control, that just stuff that, man, it makes the job rough. And I'm just so ready to have this project over and well, first of all, I'm ready to have this week over and just get home because, man, I miss my house. I miss home right now. I miss my dogs. I miss my wife. I miss my kids, even though I don't get to see one of them all the time. But she doesn't live there anymore, but I still miss her. And, she was there today. I could have seen her. I'm like, damn, I just want to go home. But yeah, that's what happens on these bad weeks. Either way, if we can get things taken care of tomorrow, hopefully I get out of here at a good time. I have a 5 hour drive ahead of me. So I would like to get out of here by like 11 a.m., 12 at the latest. Oh, God. It's not looking good, though. So wish me luck. Send me good vibes because I need them to get through tomorrow so I can get home at a decent time. I'm not trying to get home at like 7, 8 o'clock at night. That would suck. It's Friday. I just want to like get home at a decent time, enjoy my night, and forget about this week. So let's hope for that. Anyway, enough of all that. Well, first off, let me take a sip. I wish I was at home. I could use an old fashioned right now. I know I said it again, but I could use an old fashioned right now. A nice, good, maybe a couple after the day I had. But instead, I'm gonna have this, and it's hard to see because the can is white. I'll try to shade it. It's Monster Beast White something, white haze. Yeah, it's a monster with alcohol. Now, why do I have this? Because on the Technically Unsound podcast, we've been doing this thing where we all try new drinks. Most of the time, they're drinks like this, or like seltzers, or stuff, hard teas. I'm into twisted tea. This is another one of my favorites. I'll try to shade that. The Lipton hard tea. So yeah, I got my backup in case this one sucks. But anyway, I this week I every week we've been changing it up and trying new shit. So and then rating it. So I bought this monster and I bought a Buzzball. I drank the Buzzball on Tuesday. That's what I decided to get, and I drank that. It was for a good quick buzz. It's good. The flavor itself, it's okay. I got the like lime Rita one because they only had that and some chocolate one. So yeah, the Buzzball was okay, I guess. It was good for a buzz, a quick buzz, that's for sure. So I'm gonna try this monster, see how that goes. Because right now, I definitely need some energy. You probably hear some buzzing. It's my phone going off. Um, it's not bad. I don't know that I could drink the whole can. 6% alcohol. Whatever. It's all right. Get a little energy in there and we'll switch out to the tea. So, Technically Unsound Podcast, though, we go live Sundays and Tuesdays, 7 p.m. Arizona time. And yeah, go to the Technically Unsound Podcast YouTube channel and subscribe over there. My buddies DJ Magix and DJ Tommy doing the show with us or with me. So if you want to hear me talk about other stuff than MMA and bitching about my day, go check me out over there. We talk about current events and, you know, pop culture stuff, technology, technically in town, because we are usually talking about podcast stuff, equipment, cameras, mics, all kinds of shit. So go check it out if you're interested. But back to MMA. That's what we're here for. That's what we're going to talk about. And there's not a ton going on this week. That's what sucks. There was a fight last weekend. There's a fight this weekend, but they're fight nights. Last weekend was at the Apex, which you know how that goes. If you watch, some people like it. I mean, I understand Rogan like talks it up because he says it's just an intimate place to have it. It's dope to watch the fights there. But I hear tickets to even get in there, there's minimal tickets and they're a crazy price because it's almost like a private event. So, you know, for the fans trying to go to the fights, they can't even go to them because the tickets are outrageous. And then, you know, on top of that, you don't get that whole crowd feeling, and that comes through on the broadcast, like the crowd not being there. You know, you got one guy screaming after he gets a win. He's like, "Las Vegas, what's happening?" Like, and he starts in his fucking post fight, you know, interview, and it's like crickets. Like he's out there screaming, trying to, you know, trying to get some kind of a vibe, some kind of an energy, and this is all he gets. He's like, anybody? Anybody? Yeah. So it's funny. I don't know. It drives me crazy. They keep having the events there. There was 2 weeks these past 2 weeks were Apex events. So this week coming up, Atlantic City. So there'll be, you know, an audience. There'll be people there. So hopefully it's good vibes and everything works, and it's good fights. The fight card, it's okay, and it could be worse, could be better. So we'll get into that in a few. Last week though, we had a couple things going on. We had the Bellator Championship Series. So you know, Bellator got uh taken over by PFL, but they're still running Bellator. So it's kind of tricky and weird, but it's happening. So Bellator Championship Series happened last Friday. That's where we're going to get started. That's about the only combat sports news I have for you right now because there's not a lot going on. So let's get to that real quick. So yeah, Bellator Championship Series in Belfast. There was 2 title fights. Corey Anderson versus man, I forget this dude's name every single time. Carl Moore. And then Pitbull versus Kennedy. Those are the 2 title fights. Those are the 2 biggest fights on the card, pretty much. Jeremy Kennedy is against Patricio Pitbull because he's got a brother, so it's the Pitbull brothers, Patricky Pitbull. But this time it was Patricio. So, you know, Bellator, you don't hear a lot about it, especially now with the, you know, PFL taking it over. Like, mostly you hear about that. When it comes down to it, though, the event seemed pretty good. You know, Belfast, overseas and stuff. It's like, it is what it is. It seems like some of their other fights that happen overseas are a little bigger, a little better, but when it comes down to it, you know, this one wasn't horrible. I just didn't hear a whole lot about it. I almost forgot that it happened last weekend. That's kind of how it goes when it comes to these events. Just because oh, what just happened? My music just cut off. That's weird. Uh-oh. Okay. Let me see what's happening here. that was I was like checking my phone real fast because I thought of something, and then my music goes out. So that sucks. Let's get this back. There we go. All right, cool. So anyway, hopefully everything's coming through because I didn't even think about that. I didn't even get a chance to test. So if you're out there, hit me up. Just throw it in the chat. The chat's open if you want to discuss anything. But yeah, let me know if you're hearing everything okay, because I always get freaked out about that, especially when I'm out of town. It's tough for me to know. So anyway, so yeah, let's the rest of the card. I mean, it was okay. It had Nate Kelly versus Jordan Elliott in the catchweight fight. Submission by armbar. Nate Kelly wins. Nathan Kelly, who's a totally different fighter, I talked about that last week, versus Vikas Singh Ruel, gets a win by KO in the first round. It was 40 seconds into the first round, so that was a quick one. So a lot of catchweight fights on this card, which is kind of strange. But we had Luke Traynor versus Grant Neal, who is Jeff Neal's brother. Jeff Neal's in the UFC currently. But yeah, you had Luke Traynor with the win on that one by decision in the light heavyweight division. Let's see who else. There was a couple others that I know. Leandro Higo gets a win over James Gallagher, but that was a unanimous decision win. There was some bad blood in that fight, so I thought it'd be pretty good. I didn't really hear much about that fight. Why does my damn music keep cutting out? Let me see what's happening here. This is gonna piss me off. This is just like everything else. You know, I guess it just wants to be stupid and mess with me. So I'm gonna do this because I'm wondering if it has to do with the track that I'm playing. So let's go ahead and switch that up, and we'll try that. Bam. There we go. Okay. Back to it. Yeah, Leandro Higo gets the win over James Gallagher, which James Gallagher's a big, you know, a lot of people know who he is. He's an Irish guy, kind of talks like Connor and stuff, so people pay attention to him. Let's see who else. We had Fabian Edwards, who is Leon Edwards' brother. Leon Edwards being the welterweight champion in the UFC right now. So his brother gets a win in the middleweight division over Aaron Jeffrey. Unanimous decision win there. It looks like there was a lot of decisions on this card too, so that doesn't help things much. But then we get to the co-main with Jeremy Kennedy versus Patricio Pitbull. And, you know, a lot of people were talking about Pitbull just kind of falling off a little bit and losing a step here and there. So everyone was kind of wondering how this fight might go. But it went pretty well for him because, you know, while Kennedy was able to, you know, get some stuff in here and there, Pitbull's just, that's what he is. He's a Pitbull, and he's durable, and he can take the damage. And regardless of losing a step or not, he still gets the win here by TKO in the third round. And as you can see, like I said, Kennedy got a couple in on him. This was a good shot right here. But eventually Pitbull gets the KO. And oh, thanks, Mom. my mom's wishing me a better week, so thanks, Mom. Love you too. I appreciate that. It's always nice to get kind words when I'm having a bad week. But obviously my audio's working, so that's good because she heard it, so that's good. But yeah, Pitbull here with the KO, and he gets that win and retains the title. So then we get to the main event, and oop, there he is with the belt. I passed that one up. So, but yeah, moving on to the main event, we had former heavyweight UFC fighter Corey Anderson. Fought for the title once in the UFC, I think, or maybe he never got there. Either way, I think he's fought for the title one other time in the Bellator, but he finally gets his title. He gets a belt. It may not have been the UFC one, but he is now a champion in Bellator. So he gets a win over Carl Moore. And you know, he did his normal stuff, man. He got the takedowns. dominant in the wrestling. And he was able to close it out. It was a unanimous decision win, but nonetheless, he does get the win, and he does become the champ. And he was pretty emotional. I mean, he's been waiting a long time to be able to become a champ. And, I like Corey. He's a cool guy, seems like, but there's something about him that bothers me, and I've said this before. And, he always seems very, I don't know, just off a little bit. And I'm not sure why. It's like the way he talks, it's almost like he should be way more aggressive, but at the same time, he's kind of like a quiet type. So it's weird. And not that I need somebody to be outlandish and screaming and yelling and being crazy, but the way that he carries himself is very weird to me. So, but he's a great fighter. I mean, he may not always be involved in super exciting fights, but he definitely is a great fighter, and now it shows he's a champ. So congrats to Corey Anderson for getting that belt and becoming a champ. And it's nice to see, he's emotional. It's nice to see him finally get it because, regardless of anything else, he seems worthy. So that does it for Combat Sports News. That's really all I had. It's just Bellator's event last week. That's all there is to it. So let's move on to the recap of last week's UFC. Amanda Ribas versus Rose Namajunas. And I was going for Rose here all day. I like Amanda Ribas, but I've followed Rose for a long time. And, I've said it before I when she was on Tough, and I've just known about her for a long time. Her husband, Pat Barry, badass as well. So when she popped into the scene, I was like, yeah, I like her a lot. The way she carries herself, a lot of people think she's a little bit weird, a little bit kind of, I don't know, strange with some of the things that she does, but I like her. She used to have long hair, and then she cut it because she said it got in the way for training and fighting, which is kind of crazy. And people, that's kind of one of the reasons why people think she's a little weird and stuff. But nonetheless, she's a great fighter. She's a former champion, and yeah, this was her return to a headlining spot against Amanda Ribas. And there was some weird stuff that went down during this night of fights, man. I don't know. There's some weird shit going on and some weird stuff in the air. And let's see, let me get to I have to kind of do one thing at a time because service out here, I'm using my hotspot to do this because the Wi-Fi is absolutely horrendous. So you guys would probably be everything distorted, and things wouldn't be working well right now if I was on their Wi-Fi at the hotel. So good thing I have good cell phone service and hotspot works. So it's crazy what you can do with it because I'm out here doing my podcast live on YouTube using my hotspot on my phone. I guess I can say that it's good, and I'm lucky I have that because otherwise I'd be dealing with very bad internet. So let me get to this event here. It's the only bad thing. I got to do it on the fly, but it's all good because, it's just an extra little challenge, and as long as things work like they should, which right now it's giving me a little bit of trouble. It's just usually at home I'm like, I got all these screens, I got everything popped up and ready. Like part of my prep is making sure I have all these things, all these tabs open, everything ready to go so I can just click on the tab, have it there in my face and ready. But can't always go that way. So let's see, at the beginning of the card, we had Michael Perkin versus Muhammad Usman, another sibling fighter here. Muhammad Usman being the brother of former champion Kamaru Usman. This is except he's in the heavyweight division, so this was a heavyweight fight. Michael Perkin gets a unanimous decision win over Muhammad Usman. He was super surprised and upset by the fact that he didn't get the win. I didn't get to watch this fight all the way through. I saw some highlights here and there. Didn't look like anything crazy happened on both sides, so Perkin must have just edged it out. He was undefeated and continues that undefeated streak for him. And Muhammad Usman, unfortunately, suffers a loss. Andre Lima versus Igor Da Silva. we're gonna go back. We're gonna come back to that one because that one was interesting. So we'll get back to that. Was the second fight of the night, and right away we have some crazy shit going down. I'll come back to that in a minute. The women's fight, I can't even begin to pronounce what this chick's name is. Daria Zelenyakova versus Montserrat Rendon. What the fuck with these names? But it's a women's bantamweight fight. Unanimous decision win for whatever. Fuck it. Let's get to Miles Johns versus Cody Gibson. Cody Gibson coming off that latest season of The Ultimate Fighter. Miles Johns has been around for a bit. This is a bantamweight fight. Another unanimous decision win here for Miles Johns over Cody Gibson. Julian Erosa versus Ricardo Ramos. Actually. Oh, yeah. So that was a win for Julian Erosa by submission in the first round over Ricardo Ramos, which was seemed like a pretty exciting fight. I was watching the highlights on that one. I was like, damn. I wish I would have seen that whole fight, and I meant to go back to watch it, but never got a chance to. Trey Ogden versus Kurt Holobaugh, winner of this past Ultimate Fighter, also suffers another loss. So not good for these Ultimate Fighter guys from this past season. Both getting losses. Trey Ogden with a big win here. Unanimous decision win over Kurt Holobaugh in the lightweight division. And let's get back to that second fight of the night. Andre Lima versus Igor da Silva. And this is... yeah, just doesn't work. I'm like, press the button. I did press the button. So, this right here looks like your run-of-the-mill kind of, fighting for position against the cage. Homeboy, da Silva, that's da Silva in the background. And, he's got his arms wrapped, looking like he's trying to press him against the cage, maybe take him down. But he's got his face buried kind of in his armpit, between his arm and his ab, like kind of the side of his ab there. Like, okay, no big deal. But his face is buried in there, and it's kind of like, well, what are you doing, man? This is what the fuck he was doing. Taking a nice big bite out of Lima's arm. What? Like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? Like, just taking a big bite. I mean, that doesn't look that bad, actually. But when it comes down to it, I found out that he did have his mouth guard in. So that's probably why he didn't have his mouth fully open, or didn't seem like it. It looks like a little kid bite, honestly. Like some little kid just came and bit the shit out of this dude. But, he's trying to tell the ref. The ref was kind of far away from him. It looks like just kind of a little grappling exchange, getting up against the cage, trying, like I said, fighting for position, whatever. But the ref was kind of making his way towards the fighters, and then Lima's like, hey, and he's like trying to tell him, and then the ref comes over and goes, hey, time, and he calls time because I guess he finally heard that he said, hey, he's biting me. So the ref calls time. The commentators are like, wait, what? He's biting him? What do you mean? And so everyone's kind of wondering what's happening and shit. The commentators are like, no way, he's not. Maybe he got his lip caught, or his mouth guard caught on his arm. You moving around and stuff like this happens sometimes. And then Lima pulls up his arm and goes, hey, this is what happened. And everyone's like, oh shit, because they called the fight. And the commentators are like, whoa, well, there's not even a warning. Like, you're not even gonna say nothing, give this guy a chance, nothing. Well, they found out real quick, like, why. They found out why, and this is why. Because he took a nice big bite into Lima's arm, and everyone's like, dude, what are you doing? What the fuck is happening? And this guy, I don't know if he got rocked before this or what, but he was out of it. And the ref comes up to him, and da Silva is definitely not English speaking person for his first language. So the ref goes over and goes, you bit him, man, you bit him. And he goes, no. And he's just like saying no, looking all confused. He's like, yeah, you bit him, it's obvious. So yeah. And so it ends in a no contest, or a disqualification. And I guess they ended it in a it's just disqualification biting. So that's in the second round. You don't see that often, especially in the UFC. But Dana White went ahead and gave Lima the a bonus, and he said he was gonna give him 25,000, which is half of what a normal bonus for the night would be. But then Lima comes back and does this. He gets a fucking tattoo of the bite mark, and I guess Dana White told him in the back, he's like, I'm gonna give you a bonus, man. Like, it's that, he's like, I never seen some shit like this before. He's like, that's that I got fucking bit bonus. So what does Lima do? Head straight for the tattoo shop, says, I'm getting a bonus, so I'm about to get me a tattoo. And gets the teeth marks tattooed on him, and around it says, I got fucking bit bonus. And when Dana saw this, he goes, hey, I was only going to give the guy 25 grand, but fuck that, I'm making it 50 because this is awesome. So, I mean, the tattoo paid off. Yeah, big time. Doubled his money for the night, which is crazy. And of course, Igor Da Silva, right off the bat, right away, announced that night, cut from the UFC. The Nevada State Athletic Commission is also going to reprimand him because they're holding his purse for the night. And I'd assume that they're going to make a decision as to whether or not he's going to actually get his purse. I'm surprised that the UFC was even willing to give it to him. Which obviously he's only getting half because it's a win. It's a fight win bonus. Like, if you don't win, you only get half. So crazy. Oh man, I was like, how does this even happen? I couldn't believe it. And a fighter that's going to do something like that in the cage, especially someone who's just making, I think this might have been his second fight in the UFC, maybe. Let me double check that because I'm kind of curious. No, he's coming off of Dana White's Contender Series. This was his first official fight in the UFC. This dude fucked up bad, because what if he has a lot of skills? What if he's an up and comer? Maybe, he's a hard worker and stuff like that. Why he did this, I don't know. But he had a chance. He's in the big leagues. And he fumbles the bag big time. Because it's only up from here unless you do some shit like this. If you're a decent fighter, you can make some money, and you're in the most well-known organization in MMA, and one of the biggest organizations in all of live sports, and you do some shit like this. Not good, man. So, peace out to Lima. Good luck. Hope you learn from this. But yeah, fuck off for biting your opponent, because that's bitch shit. I hate to say it. But let's move on to the main card with Fernando Padilla versus Luis Puello. Padilla gets a nice submission win over Puello in the featherweight division. First round, he gets a couple strikes in and gets him to the ground and submits him. Oh, it didn't even get him to the ground. It's just standing. What am I talking about? The Bravo choke. So, he comes away with that big win there to start off the main card. Moving on, we got Yusuf Zalal versus Billy Quarantillo. This was also a featherweight fight. And, Billy Q's a gamer. He definitely is out there to get into a lot of action and definitely have a great fight. But he came up short this time, unfortunately for him. Zalal is like high energy type dude, and definitely came out to fight this night. Gets the great submission in, rear naked choke in the second round, and Billy Q unfortunately gets the loss there. And I don't even remember what I did for my picks, and I just realized I didn't do picks this week. I didn't have fucking time. Damn it. Oh well. But I think I picked Billy Q in this fight for last week. I did pick Fernando Padilla, so I got that one right. I picked Billy Q here. Missed on that one. Moving on to Peyton Talbot versus Cameron Simon. This was a pretty damn good fight. Talbot's all over the place this week, doing media, podcasts left and right. I heard him on the what was he? Oh, he was on the MMA Hour with Ariel Helwani, and then he was also on UFC Unfiltered with Matt Serra and Jim Norton. So, and he sounds like a cool dude. He's kind of, I always wondered what that dot was, like why. I think I talked about it last week. Like, what is the big black dot? I don't get that tattoo, but it's funny because in the exact same position directly behind him on his back, that black spot is there as well. And I guess it's like something about space and not like outer space, but like, fuck, I can't remember. My brain is fried. I'm surprised I can even hold it together for this. But yeah, my brain is fried. Sorry, I can't remember what the fuck he said it was, but he gave an explanation. It kind of made sense, I guess, but he said he wasn't even sure about the tattoo at first, but it's grown on him. He likes it a lot. He likes what it stands for, even though I can't remember what that is. So it must not have been that significant to me. I apologize. But yeah, Talbot gets a great win over Cameron Simon. This knee was just crazy, man. I saw the highlights after the fact. They played it, on social media. There's a highlight, and the video is like, listen to the sound of this knee that Talbot landed on Simon, and dude, it was nasty. It was nasty. I don't know how Simon survived that, but in the end, he wasn't able to, survive everything and gets TKO'd in the second round, 21 seconds in, and this was shortly after this big knee, so it did affect him enough to make him wind up getting TKO'd. So Talbot, I think, is gonna be he's gonna be a rising star, and he's gonna definitely make his way up the rankings with the way that he fights, and if he keeps it up, yeah, he's gonna definitely be one of those people to look out for. So, but moving on, and I did go with Talbot last week, so I got that one right. So that's good. Edmund Shabazian versus AJ Dobson. This was a middleweight fight. Shabazian, being a former training partner of Ronda Rousey, had the same coaches and stuff. So he's kind of an up and down fighter though. And he's facing AJ Dobson. I believe they were both coming off losses, and yeah, he got the job done. Shabazian got the nice KO in the first round over AJ Dobson. I got that one wrong. I'm not sure why I went with Dobson, but I think I even said it when I was going over my picks last week. I was like, shit, I went with Dobson, and I'm not even sure why. I saw something in there that stood out to me, so I went ahead and went with him as an underdog. But Shabazian got the job done and got the KO. Some good ground and pound from him right there after that knockdown. And yeah, that was let's see, that was the third to the last fight, so we're getting to the co-main now. Carl Williams versus Justin Tafa. Man, these Tafa bros. So this was Justin Tafa filling in for his brother Junior Tafa, who filled in for Justin Tafa in his last fight. So they're just flip-flopping Tafa brothers, right? These dudes are both crazy, and they're like, they're great fighters, and they're beasts, but they both kind of struggle when it comes to the cardio portion of fighting. When it gets to the later rounds, they don't do so well. They're big strikers, and they can get the job done early, but you take them into deep waters. You take them into the, later, after about 2.5 minutes, 2.5 rounds, you're definitely not going to get the same output from them. And regardless of how good they are, yeah, they seem to fall apart in those later rounds. So in this fight, Carl Williams took advantage of the other brother from who he was supposed to fight, and got a unanimous decision win over Justin Tafa. And even though he struggles in the later rounds, it's hard to finish him. So if I said it last week, though, I believe I said it last week, that if it gets to those later rounds, it's gonna be an L for Tafa, unfortunately, and I was right. So but I do believe I picked Tafa in my picks. So there's, fuck, man, it's like 2 and 3 now. So then we move into the main event. Amanda Hebos versus Rose Namajunas. And yeah, this one was a close one, I think. Overall, sounds like a lot of people were at odds with the way it ended and who actually won and who did the better job overall. Oh man, my lips are so dry. I need some damn chapstick. Guess I forgot mine. It's been a little bit windy out here. Between being cold and windy, my lips are fucked up. And then I just like thirsty all the damn time. Ugh, rough. Anyway, Mandy Hebos came out swinging, landed some kicks, landed some punches. She was looking pretty good. You know, Hebos is a good fighter, regardless. And, you know, but Rose is one of my favorite fighters, like I said before. And I'm always rooting for her, but Hebos gave her a good fight. And, oh man, I am struggling with, let's see. And of course I left my water somewhere else. Just drink some more of this. Yeah, so, but, you know, Rose went ahead and did work as well. She, you know, showed and proved that, you know, her being a former champ, she went out there and got the win over Hebos. You know, made it all through, all those strikes landed by Hebos. And I mean, Hebos hits hard too, but Rose is tough and she's durable and she's able to turn things around even though she's might be in some trouble. I thought this picture was kind of funny because Rose has her eyes shut. But as you can see, looks like she might have landed that punch. Definitely, my buttons don't want to work. Definitely landed this one. That's a nasty punch in the like chest / neck. I mean, damn. Imagine getting hit there. Be like, that's what it looks like that Hebos is doing in this picture. But yeah, Rose just all around good. Body shots. She's great with her kicks. She's got good, you know, strikes all around, and she's good at grappling and stuff on the ground as well. So, but in the end, she got the unanimous decision win over Amanda Hebos. And, you know, more than anything, I think people had a issue with the fact that it was a unanimous decision win. I mean, I think no one would have questioned it too much if it wound up being a split decision. But a lot of people felt like Rose didn't do enough to garner that unanimous decision win. In the end, a win is a win. I'm glad she got it. Back in the win column, she had dropped 2 in a row. After, you know, one being that fight that she lost her belt to Carla Esparza, and then that fight against Manon Fiorot, who's fighting this week actually. But yeah, I had forgotten that she went up in weight to 125 in her last fight against Fiorot, and this was her second fight, so she gets her first win, her first official win in the 125 division, and she's looking to try to make a run and possibly become a 2-division champion, which I would love to see. So I'm hoping that this is just her jump off to getting back to the old ways of winning, and winning in impressive fashion. So that does it for UFC Vegas 89. Yeah, 89. I had kind of questioned whether I was right about that or not. Let's move on to the event for this week. And I'm just blowing through this. I did not realize I was going to be going this fast, but it is what it is. I'm tired. Tonight should be, well, no, tonight will be my last night here, because tomorrow's Friday, and even if I get home late, I don't give a fuck. I'm going home tomorrow. So, yeah, I got some packing to do. I got to pack all this shit up. I'm tired as hell. I'm surprised I'm sitting here still. And, yeah, so maybe going through this a little faster is not a bad thing. Watch me drag it out still till like 8:30. You never know. It's only 45 minutes away. But thanks for sticking with me. If you're still here, I appreciate it. I'm all over the fucking place, I know, but I made it, so I'm still here, and I'm gonna try to get this page loaded so I can have my info, if it'll let me. And yeah, I wish I was a better Googler sometimes, or typer. Maybe if I learned how to type faster, that might be better. Maybe if my brain just worked better. That might work too, but limited space. So I'm doing my best. Let's go. This one loaded faster, thankfully. All right, so Aaron Blanchfield versus Manon Fiorot is the main event for this card. UFC on ESPN 54. This is happening in Atlantic City, so there will be a crowd, which is great. And yeah, the co-main is Vicente Luque versus Joaquin Buckley. I feel like that's going to be a great fight. I mean, Blanchfield versus Fiorot, that should be a damn good fight too. But you never know with the women. Sometimes they kind of stalemate it, and you know, it could be back and forth. It could be exciting. A lot of decisions in women's fights, so you never know what you're going to get. Blanchfield is been coming up and in a big way, and she's been doing great and getting a lot of wins. Manon Fiorot is just a beast. She hits hard, but she is beatable. So yeah, let's go and see what we got in the bottom of the card here. Angel Pacheco versus Colon Lafran. Bantamweight fight to start off the night. Andre Petrosky versus Jacob Malkoun. That should be a pretty damn good fight, actually, in the middleweight division. Victoria Dudakova versus Melissa Gatto, flyweight division. Let's see. I'm not sure who that is. Dennis Bazooka, Sarah Longo fighter versus Connor Matthews in the featherweight division. Bazooka has been one of those guys that they tout and talk a lot about, especially Matt Serra and, you know, Ray Longo, obviously. But yeah, and he's been kind of struggling a bit there. But let's see if he can get the win over Connor Matthews in this fight. Julio Arce versus Herbert Burns, Gilbert Burns' brother. A lot of siblings happening and over the past couple weeks. That's a featherweight fight. That should be a good one. Not too bad fights here. I mean, I thought it was a little worse than this, but I hadn't really paid attention to the undercard because, again, it's just been but yeah, and then we got strawweight division, Virna Jandiroba versus Lupi Godinez. Those two are usually fairly decent fights. That could be exciting. Jandiroba, I mean, she gets beat a lot, but so does Lupi Godinez. So, I mean, hopefully it's a good battle. And then you got Nate the Train Landwehr versus Jamal Amers in the featherweight division to finish off the undercard, or the prelims, I'm sorry. And that brings us over to the main card, starting off with Chidi Njokuani versus Rise McKee. Njokuani's 35 years old, 22-10 overall, 2-3 in the UFC. Not a great record for the UFC for him, even though a lot of people speak highly of him. But you know, it's tough in the UFC sometimes. And yeah, he's got a lot of KO TKO wins. 14-5 there, 1-3 in submissions, so he's not great in the submission category. 7-2 in decisions, and he's on a 3-fight losing streak. So his first 2 fights in the UFC were wins for him, and it hasn't looked good since then. So hopefully he could turn it around here as far as trying to get back in that win column. And he's fighting Rise McKee, 28 years old, 18-5 overall, 0-1 in the UFC. He's got 10 KO TKO wins, 10-2 there, 3-0 in submissions, and 0-3 in decisions. So if it goes to decision, it's not looking good for McKee. But if you look at that submission column, 1-3 for Njokuani and 3-0 for Rise McKee. So that could be where the fight could get ended fairly quickly if it gets to the ground and McKee can get that great position and throw in a submission on Njokuani, because it seems like he lacks a little bit in that category. But Njokuani, great striking. You know, he has a lot of KO TKO wins. Like I said, he's coming off a 3-fight losing streak, but that's against Gregory Rodriguez, Albert Duraev, and Michael Oleksiejczuk. So not no names there that he's losing against. So before that, he had the 2 wins when he got into the UFC. He is a Dana White Contender Series alum. So yeah, it's like TKO, KOs, wins or losses all the time. A couple decisions there. But yeah, he's usually involved in a firefight, it seems. And from what I remember, that's true. But his opponent, Rise McKee, come on, man, work with me here. Irish fighter. That's a crazy. I think that's an owl on his chest, a tattoo. No, an eagle. It's hard to tell. It's a big ass tat though. But yeah, he's got a lot of submission wins, but a lot of TKO wins too. KO TKO wins. His last fight was against Angelosa, who just fought not too long ago. That was unanimous decision loss back in September. Before that, he was on a 3-fight win streak, but Angelosa was his only fight in the UFC, and he lost. So he needs to get back in that win column, try to do better now that he's in the UFC. Like I said, and it seems like his best route to victory would be that submission. So maybe try to get that to the ground and get that submission in there. Moving on to the next fight, Bill Algeo versus Kyle Nelson. This one seems like it should be a damn good fight. 34 years old for Algeo, 18-7 overall, 5-3 in the UFC, 4-0 in KO TKOs, 7-2 in submissions, 7-5 in decisions, and he's on a 2-fight win streak. So yeah, he hasn't been stopped by KO or TKO, so that's good for him. He seems pretty durable. Kyle Nelson, 32 years old, 15-5 overall, 3-4 in the UFC. Not a great record for the UFC there, but he's 5-2 in KO TKOs, 4-1 submissions, 6-2 in decisions, but he is on a 2-fight win streak as well. Algeo, come on, load the page. 2-fight win streak for him. Alexander Hernandez and TJ Brown. This 1 submission, 1 decision win there. His last loss was by split decision to Andre Fili, so that was a close one. He's got a win over Herbert Burns. So yeah. Okay. Yeah, a lot of decisions in here for him recently. So, but then a submission and a TKO. So, yeah, I mean, he's got different ways of winning for sure. We'll see which way he tries to take it against Kyle Nelson, who, just like I said, doesn't have a great record in the UFC, 3-4. He's on a 2-fight win streak, though, so this is the battle of who can keep their win streak alive. Beating Fernando Padilla back in September by unanimous decision. Blake Builder by unanimous decision as well. He had a draw with Doo-Ho Choi, so that's pretty good. His losses are to Billy Q and Jai Herbert. So I mean, again, big name fighters that he's losing to. Not too bad. A lot of decisions though, so we'll see how this one goes. Hopefully we get some action and they both fight hard for that to keep that win streak alive. Moving on, we got see if I can get this guy's name in. Nursultan Ruzi. Oh man, Ruziboyev versus Cedriquez Dumas. We just have to have the difficult names, huh? I mean, obviously it's probably from where they're from, but damn, those are tough names. Why does Dumas look like a fucking island boy? I don't know. With all those tats. Let's see. Ruziboyev, 30 years old, 33-8 overall. That's a fucking lot of fights, man. He's only 1-0 in the UFC, 11-1 in KO TKOs, 20-1 in submissions, and 2-6 in decisions. So he does not want to go to a decision because he doesn't have a great record down there. He is on his 1 fight in the UFC is a win, so he's undefeated so far in the UFC. Dumas, 28 years old, 9-1 overall. A lot less experience if you look at those records. Holy shit. He's 2-1 in the UFC though. 4-0 in KO TKOs. So he hasn't been finished by KO or TKO. So that's good for him because if he can stand Ruziboyev on the feet, he still has to try to defend on the ground with those 20 submission wins of Ruziboyev. God, it's a lot. But he does have a winning record down there, barely. 2-1 in submissions, 3-0 in decision wins. So if he can, you know, survive throughout all 3 rounds, he has a good chance of winning by decision, considering it doesn't seem like Ruziboyev can get it done when it goes all 3 rounds. Dumas is on a 2-fight win streak, and let's see, Ruziboyev, let me get to, oh man, I lost my spot, and it is hot as shit in this room right now. I mean, it's cold outside, so the heat turns on, but man, it gets trapped in here, and it's fucking hot right now. Just more bitching. I'm sorry. Drink some cold hard tea. All right. So Ruziboyev, I mean, shit, technically he's on a hell of a lot longer win streak than 1-0. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9-fight win streak overall. But he's only 1-0 in the UFC. And that was a KO win over Bruno Ferreira. So that was back in July of last year. But yeah, he's been in a couple different organizations. Brave FC, OFC, Octagon, WEF. I don't even know what half of these are. But yeah. So we'll see how he fares in the UFC, especially with all those pro fights under his belt. I mean, it's a lot of experience. But Dumas looks like he's a game opponent for sure. On that 2-fight win streak with wins over Abu Azatar and Cody Brundage. Not bad there. That was a unanimous decision win on both of those. Which, yeah, there you go. He's got the 2 unanimous decision wins in his past 2 fights. If he takes it to decision this time, he's got a good chance of winning with the way the records look. His 1 loss in the UFC was against Josh Freem. That was his UFC debut back in March of last year. And that was a loss by submission, which that doesn't look good, though, in that part, because Ruziboyev has 20 wins by submission overall in his career. So don't go to the ground. Keep it on the feet. You know, survive the strikes. Get through all 3 rounds, and maybe you can win this fight by decision. That might be the way to go. Dumas comes from Dana White's Contender Series as well. But yeah, that's about it for that fight. Moving on to Chris Weidman coming back after that loss to Brad Tavares, when before that he was off for a long ass time because of that injury when he snapped his leg, had all of the health problems and issues that came along with it. You know, infections, damn near having his leg amputated because of so many infections and stuff like that. I mean, he had what is, I guess, the worst leg break in UFC history because it was a compound fracture, came through the skin. It was nasty. Everyone that talks about it says it was really, 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 really bad. That was there and saw it. And he does have, which I need to watch actually. He does have like a docu-series or a documentary of some sort about his recovery and stuff after the leg break, and it shows all of, you know, the battles that he had to endure going through all that and all the healing process. But Chris Weidman, that's who I'm talking about if I didn't say it, fighting Bruno Silva. Now, Chris Weidman has had good luck against Silva's. If you remember, he beat Anderson Silva to become champion in that crazy knockout of Anderson Silva years back. And then he beat Silva again, but that's because Silva suffered the same kind of leg break against Chris Weidman. So pretty weird events that happened in that timeline. So, but Weidman's 39 years old, man. That's That's pretty up there in age when it comes down to it in fighting. But, you know, Weidman is a former champion, so he does have that mentality, but he hasn't had good luck since he came back, obviously. He wasn't looking so great before he broke his leg against Uriah Hall. But he's still a great fighter. I mean, you know, he's got that All-American wrestling for sure. And, yeah, he's 15-7 overall in MMA, 11-7 in the UFC, 6-6 in KO TKOs, 4-0 in submissions, 5-1 in decisions, and he's on a 2-fight losing streak. His opponent, Bruno Silva, 34 years old, 23-10 overall, 3-4 in the UFC, so not great there. 20-0 in KO TKOs. Holy shit. So this is where Chris Weidman needs to be careful, because Silva has all those KO TKO wins, which means he's dangerous on his feet. And Weidman's a 500 fighter on his feet, so that's pretty crazy. But where he has the upper hand, Weidman is 4-0 in submissions. Bruno Silva 0-7, so he does not do good on the ground. That's something to look out for. That's a possible method of victory for Chris Weidman there. You know, get through the stand-up battle, take it to the ground, use that wrestling, and get him in a submission. Got a great chance there of winning. Decisions for Bruno Silva 3-2, and he is on a 2-fight losing streak as well. So here's that crazy knockout of Anderson Silva, which I hated seeing, because at the moment I was not a big Chris Weidman fan, but I was a big Anderson Silva fan, always will be, you know. But watching him get knocked out like this, especially after he was clowning around in the cage, it fucking sucked. We were in Vegas watching it at Cabo Wabo, I think, because we went to the Fan Expo that year, took the kids with us. So watching the fights, and then we watched this go down, it was pretty nuts. But yeah, Weidman, great back in his day, but you know, he's been on this tough losing streak, snapping his leg to Uriah Hall, and then losing to Brad Tavares, who, by the way, is a fucking savage. Came out leg kicking the shit out of Chris Weidman. So, I mean, talk about no mercy. Before that, he had one win against Omari Akhmedov. He looked pretty damn good in that fight, so everyone was looking forward to the Uriah Hall fight, and then the leg break happened. Before that, he was on a 2-fight losing streak again. So, you know, it kind of seems like he's got this lose 2, win 1, lose 2. He went on a 3-fight losing streak, but he's got like one win in between everything. So if he keeps on that roll, it's time for him to get a win. So I'd like to see Weidman get another big win, especially in Atlantic City. It's nearby where he's from, and Jersey or New York, something like that. But apparently he's like 4-0 when it comes to fights in Atlantic City for him. And obviously he's done well against Silvas in the past, and he's a great he's got good submissions, he's got good jiu-jitsu, and he definitely has great wrestling, so he can get that to the ground. So as I was saying before, that might be the way for him to go. Don't fall in love with your hands on the feet, man. You don't do well up there, and those kicks can be brutal. So watch your legs, Weidman. Be careful and get the fight to the ground and go for submission, because Bruno Silva is not great down there. But he's on a 2-fight losing streak, one by submission, the other by decision. He lost that last fight to Share Bullet Magomedov. Yeah, that crazy guy. And then Brendan Allen before that. He has a win over Brad Tavares, who is the guy that Weidman was fighting when he snapped his leg. That was a TKO win for him. And then again, 2-fight losing streak before that to Mearshart and Pineda. You know, decision there, submission to Mearshart. So yeah, he's kind of on the same trajectory that Chris Weidman's on, except for the leg break. So we'll see which one can come up on top this time. Me personally, just from knowing him and stuff, and his journey and everything, I got to go for Chris Weidman. Yeah, gonna go for the older dog here. So let's see how this fight ends up. Hopefully it's a good one. Hopefully it's well worth it. And hopefully Weidman stays away from the injuries. All right, so moving on to the co-main event. Vicente Luque versus Joaquin Buckley. Now, Luque is a beast, but Joaquin Buckley is the guy with the crazy highlight reel flying, like spinning back kick in the air, crazy knockout against Impa Kasangane, who's now a champion in PFL. Oh no, maybe he lost that last fight. Fuck, I don't remember. Too many things to remember. But yeah, he had that crazy spinning back kick win. But Vicente Luque is 32 years old, 22-9 overall, 15-5 in the UFC. Does well in the KO TKO column, 11-1. Winning record in submissions, 8-2, but he has a losing record in decisions, 3-6. He is coming off a win. His opponent is Joaquin Buckley, 29 years old, plenty of experience, 17-6, 7-4 overall, 7-4 in the UFC, 12-4 in KO TKOs. No wins or losses in submissions, so that's interesting. With Vicente Luque having 8 submission wins, that could be a point there where things might happen. 5-2 in decision, so he has a better record if it goes to decision. He is on a 2-fight win streak as well. Vicente Luque, though, he's a beast on his feet. He's good overall. His last fight was a win, like I said, against Rafael dos Anjos. That was in August of last year. That was a unanimous decision win. It's tough to finish RDA, so yeah, going to decision, not bad. Unanimous as well. That means he was definitely he definitely did a lot to make sure that he won that one. Before that, he was on a 2-fight losing streak to Jeff Neal and Bilal Muhammad. That was a KO loss and a decision loss. He had a 4-fight win streak before that against people Michael Chiesa, Tyrone Woodley, Randy Brown, and Inigo Price. Those are some big names there. And just mixed up wins there. Submissions, KO, submissions. Yeah, Luque's pretty well rounded. Nasty strikes, big knees. He'll make you bleed for sure. That's against Inigo Price. So yeah, I mean, and Luque's usually involved in pretty exciting fights. So this could be a good one because Buckley is definitely going for a highlight reel knockout of some sort. This is that knockout against Kasangane. This was during the pandemic too, so it was in a very empty Apex, and man, that shit went viral. Everyone was all about it. It was a crazy badass win. He is on a 2-fight winning streak. His wins over Alex Morono and Andre Fialio. That was a unanimous decision and a TKO head kick win. So yeah, he likes those kicks. That's for damn sure. So Luque needs to be careful with that because Buckley will kick, and he'll kick a lot, and he's pretty lethal with those kicks. Before the 2-fight win streak, he was on a 2-fight losing streak against Chris Curtis and Nassourdine Mavov. 2 pretty good names there. KO and decision loss. 3-fight win streak before that. So yeah, I mean, kind of streaky, but Buckley has what it takes with these big kicks. Oh shit, what did I do here? Oh, I pushed the wrong button. And then there's a big punch to the chin of Impa Kasangane again. So yeah, he's got heavy hands, really big kicks, and Luque maybe taking it to the ground might be the way to go here, but he's durable and he can stand and bang with the best of them too. So this could be, I'm looking forward to this fight. I think it's going to be, if not the best fight, definitely one of the best fights of the night for sure. So let's get to the main event in the women's division. Erin Blanchfield versus Manon Fiorot. Rose was saying that she'd like to see the winner of this one in her next fight, if not for a title shot. This one seems like a somewhat of a number 1 contender type fight. But yeah, we got Erin Blanchfield, 24 years old, 12-1 overall, 6-0 in the UFC, so undefeated. Definitely on a 6-fight win streak, obviously, in the UFC. She only has 1 loss overall in her record, so 2-0 in KO TKOs, 4-0 in submissions, 6-1 in decisions. So that 1 loss of hers is by decision. So, you know, she's gonna definitely be looking to end this before the 5 rounds are up. And Manon Fiorot is 10 years older at 34 years old. She's also only got one loss in her record, 11-1. She's 6-0 in the UFC as well, 6-0 in KO TKOs, no wins or losses in submissions, and 5-1 in decisions. So neither one of these girls want to go to decision because that's still the one loss that they both have on their record is by decision. And I'm just looking at the time now, and I'm like, look at this, 8:11. I said I'd probably be done soon, and I'm like, maybe I'll take it till 8:30. We'll see. Yeah. But Erin Blanchfield is she can definitely strike, but she also has very good she has a very good ground game, good wrestling, good grappling, lots of submissions on her record. That 6-fight win streak, let's go over it real quick. Talia Santos, Jessica Andrade, Molly McCann, JJ Aldridge, Miranda Maverick, Sarah Alpar. Those are her 6 wins in the UFC. Her loss was to Tracy Cortez in Invicta. So, I mean, that's a big name fighter right there. And her only loss, and it was by split decision. So it was a close fight. But yeah, a lot of her wins are by decision or submission. So that's what we're looking at here. Erin Blanchfield, like I said, great on the ground. But she definitely oh shit, what did I do here? I just pressed the wrong button. Big time wrong button. Let me go through this again real quick. There we go. Now we're up to speed. There's a big punch against Jessica Andrade. These girls in their neck punches, it's kind of crazy. But yeah, Blanchfield has great striking, but it usually leads to her getting it to the ground with some big ground and pound, and then taking it to those submissions. Guillotines, Kimuras, as you see here, against Molly McCann. Rear naked chokes. She does it all. So that's going to be where she's going to find the best way to victory against Manon Fiorot, because Manon Fiorot has really fucking heavy hands. She's a big striker. And, you know, she's also undefeated. So someone's always got to go in this one. Throwing it back to Connor. Both undefeated in the UFC. But Manon Fiorot definitely has that striking. And, you know, she's a beast on the feet. So Erin Blanchfield needs to weather that storm, get it to the ground, because that's going to be the best way for her to get there. Manon Fiorot has really long limbs. You know, this crazy kick right here. And you know, if she catches you on the chin, it's not going to be good for you. This is her against Rose. Rose took this one, but it definitely hurt her. So Manon Fiorot, heavy hands, big striker. She's a big woman for sure, and she's beastly. She's built, and man, she's definitely one of those fighters you got to look out for on the feet. So if Erin Blanchfield is to keep her undefeated record in the UFC, she's definitely got to get it to the ground, and I think that's just going to be the best way for her to get a victory here. Manon Fiorot does not do well with the grappling. That's where she lacks, I think, the most, but she usually just depends on her hands and legs to, you know, get past everyone, because if she lands, it's going to hurt you. So yeah, that's it. We'll see how it goes. Enjoy those fights Saturday night. And yeah, that's it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I appreciate you watching. I know I was a bit all over the place. Anyone else that was watching, I appreciate it. Thanks for hanging in there with me. Especially when I'm out of town like this, it's tough. So, got a lot of stuff coming up up in the near future. We have a bit of a impromptu vacation coming up for the weekend here soon. Gonna be heading out to Vegas and, showing the kids around, because they haven't got to go to Vegas with us yet, and that's like our place to go for me and my wife. And they haven't been there since they've been able to drink. So I'm looking forward to that. That's coming up soon. I'm hoping I get this project taken care of and out of the damn way, so I can stop having to come up here, because I hate this place. And I hope tomorrow goes smooth. I get out of here at a good time. Please help me. Please help me. have that happen. I want to get home. So that about does it for me. Go follow all of my social media going on down there. Of course, it's not there at the moment. It's about to pop up. There you go. And it always pops up with X, but I am on X. Haven't been on there much, but Facebook and Instagram is the best place to go. There's a lot of information there, a lot of news and stuff, and I repost all of it. And I, just post a lot of things there. So go follow me there. Check it out. Like and subscribe. Come back next week. We'll recap this, go over the next week of fights. And, we're just leading up to UFC 300. So, and we got one more fight night before that. So come back, check it out, listen to all the news, all the recaps and previews. Appreciate you all. I'm out of here. I got to pack. I'm tired. Thanks again. I'm out. Peace. Shit, I don't even have everything ready. Damn it. Later.